Julie, Lauren, Seth, Tina, Brianna, Marie, Mackenzie, and Charlene.
Melissa, Allison is with me.
Allison's with you. Perfect. Anybody else have somebody sitting with you? Alrighty. So today we are going over the wonderful auction. As you all know, auction is one of Heather's prescriptive elements, meaning that it's no longer optional. She wants all social events to be having an auction this year forward. So we're going to go over entering your items, creating your packages, putting pictures into those packages for use either if you're doing a catalog page on the website or if your event is utilizing online bidding. That's what those pictures will be used for. And then all of the printing that goes along with getting to the event with all of your auction packages. So I am going to share my screen. So if there's anybody who can't see my screen, please let me know. Amanda, I'm using Upper Valley just because it's coming up and you've already got auction items in there, so I don't have to take the time to put in a bunch of fake ones. And hey, you got a registration waiting. Okay. Lauren, you can't see it. Okay. Oh. Okay. Anybody else not able to see the screen? Perfect. So starting out with adding auction items. Remember, you're never going to just add a new. You always want to go through View Edit. Just because some events have multiple support staff working on them, so you want to make sure that you're not entering a duplicate item that somebody else may have already put in there. Okay, so you can see that this event already has a bunch of items in there. To add another one, you're always going to look at what's in there first, make sure it's not there, and then click on the green plus sign to add a new one. So you want to fill out this form completely each time you add an item. The more complete you are in this form, the easier it's going to be when it comes time to actually package your stuff. And also at the end of the year when it comes tax time. So item number, you're going to let that autofill. That is just a number for inventory purposes so that you have a count of how many items you have. It's not your package number. You'll have package numbers assigned later. Okay, so let that auto assign. The name you want to think about in terms of writing a thank you letter. So thank you for your donation of blank. Whatever fills in that blank is what's going to be the name of your package or your item, sorry. It's not your final package name. You can, once you package the items, give them those fancy names that draw a little more interest than just, an overnight for two or $50 gift certificate. Item type, you will always leave blank. Please don't ever fill this in for auction items. Category, as weird as they seem, these are the IRS categories that are on our IRS tax documents at the end of the year. So please don't edit these, don't delete them, don't change them. They are really odd, some of them, like scientific specimens. That one's my personal favorite. So try to fit your item into one of these categories wherever you can. If you can't find a category that it fits into, you have the other miscellaneous, and you'll probably find yourself putting a lot of them into that other miscellaneous category. Your section is either going to be live auction or silent auction. If you don't know what's going to be in your live auction, you can put everything in your silent auction for now, and then once you package all of your items together, you can designate your packages to be in live or silent. Your procurement status is, a lot of these you're not going to use. The most commonly used ones will be promised by donor, received. So if your donor said, I am going to give you such and such, and they sign the form, that's promised by donor. Once you actually have the item in hand in the office, then you can mark it as received. Make sure that if you are putting something in here as promised by donor, when you do actually receive the item, come back and change that to received. And there is a report that you can run that will show you the procurement status of all of your items. You can also run it on the location of all of your items so that you know what you need to go pick up or where things are stored, etc. When you change your procurement status, let me change this to promised by donor. Your procurement status date is going to automatically update to today's date. And then when you put in promised by donor or received, it's going to ask you if you have your form. So as long as you have that auction form, you can check it off and put in the date that you received the form. Okay, you have two value types, fair market value and priceless. You should almost never be using priceless. Priceless is only used for those one-of-a-kind items or experiences that you absolutely cannot buy anywhere. So, sports example, an autographed jersey, you can buy those online. So that would have a fair market value. However, standing beside that football player on the sidelines during a game would be priceless. You can't buy that opportunity. Okay, so if you have any questions about whether an item would have a fair market value or be priceless, please ask. And then if it is a fair market value item, then you need to put that value into the value box. So what price would you buy it for if you went out and bought it yourself? Cost should always be left blank. We should not be paying for our auction items or doing consignment or anything like that. It's against best practices, so this should be blank. If your auction is taking place in Maine or New York, you are one of the lucky people that has to charge sales tax. Your tax rate should autofill here. The event I'm working in is in New Hampshire, so there is no sales tax. But for New York or Maine, your tax rate should pop up there. Always leave the tax rate there until you have actually finalized your packages. And there's a separate sales tax training for those people in Maine and New York, so I'm not going to get into it too much here. If you've already sent your donor a thank you letter, you can check off that thank donor. Again, you can run an advanced search query for all donors that haven't been thanked yet and send a thank you email or letter based on that query. Just make sure you're checking those off after they do get a thank you so that they're not getting multiples. We really don't use the thank staff checkbox, so you can just ignore that. Certificate type, you have two options again. You have donor provided or software printed. Donor provided means that the donor actually handed you something, whether it was a gift card or a gift certificate or whatnot. They gave it to you. If it's one of those priceless experiences that you can't buy, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have a gift certificate for it, and they're just going to say something like, oh, just print something up. So for those, oh, just print something up items, you can mark them as software printed, meaning you are physically printing them. And again, you can run an advanced search in your view edit items for all software printed gift certificates, and there's a report in there that will print all of your certificates for you. It's a really boring black and white who, what, why, where, when type of certificate. So if you want something fancier, you'll have to create it yourself. Your location is where that item physically is right now. again, this is when you'll need to come back and update. So if if it's promised by donor and the donor said they would drop it off, you can put donor will deliver. Once you change this to received, put it, change it to it's in the office, it's in the safe, it's in a storage room. This list can be edited by clicking on that pencil in the circle. So if you want to be more specific, instead of just saying office, it's in Amanda's office, it's in Julie's office, or it's in a locked drawer in Lauren's office, storage room A, storage room B. You can add all of those to the list so that you know exactly where all of those items are. And then you can run that location report and make sure that you're gathering all of those and that you have them all to go to the actual event and that you're not leaving anything behind. You're going to skip over this whole package section. That's something we do later. We don't do it within the items. Donors, you're going to look up who donated the item. So if this was something donated by me, I'm just going to look up Melissa. It's going to pull up all the Melissas, and I would choose myself. If your donor does not exist, when you hit that find, you can come back here and just say create new supporter. And when you create a new supporter, you'll fill in their information, and when you hit save, it will automatically fill them in as a donor on this item. Soliciting staff member, this is if you're tracking, if you have an auction committee and you're actually tracking who brought in what items, then you can put your different committee members' names in there. Unlike the sponsorship opportunities, this one's not required. You don't have to have something in there. That's purely for your own use. Okay. Moving down, we have notes. Notes are for your own use as well. These are notes to yourself, reminders of, you need to pick it up at 2 p.m. on Tuesday at the back door of the business. You can write that in the notes. If you have a gift certificate that's numbered, I recommend putting your gift certificate numbers into the notes field. Back when I did auctions, I actually had this happen to me, where a gift certificate had something spilled on it and it ruined the gift certificate. It was a paper certificate. The number, the ink on the gift certificate just ran all over the place and you couldn't read anything. I had made a note of the gift certificate number. I could go back to the donor and say, look, something happened to gift certificate number 12345. Could you please void it in your system and reissue it? And they can, 99 times out of 100, they're happy to do that. If it's a gift card, you don't need to worry so much. It's just those, there's a few mom and pop shops out there who still do the old paper gift certificates. So if they are numbered, I definitely recommend putting those in the notes. Description, this is what's going to feed into your packages. So you want to be as grammatically correct, as descriptive and complete as possible. You want your whole who, what, why, where, when in here, and just remember that's going to pull into your packages, and you're not going to be creating your packages until close to your event. So you don't want to make all of your packages and then have to rewrite all of your descriptions because you just put notes in the description field. It's going to cause undue stress for you. So if you're complete when you're putting in the item, then it pulls over to the package and you don't really need to worry about it unless you're packaging a bunch of items, and then you might have to tweak it a little to make it flow better. But definitely put everything you can into that description. Same thing for restrictions, blackout dates, age limits, tax and gratuity not included, those type of things you want to put into the restrictions. And again, be grammatically correct, complete sentences, things like that. And last is those item images. We do not put pictures into the items. We do that when we package, so you can skip over that part completely. Once you're all done with your form, you can click Save. Any questions on entering items? No? Okay. So you can see that this event already has a whole bunch of items in there. Once you are done entering all of your items, you can start packaging them. You don't want to create packages of multiple items until you have all of the items, because like if this Kramer Portraits was being paired with the 6 South Hotel, and you paired them together and you created your package and everything, and then Kramer Portraits never actually delivered, then you're going to have to go back, delete that package, rewrite everything. So until you have all of the pieces of the package, don't create the package. When it comes time to start packaging your events, I'm a list person. I love to see lists get shorter. So I prefer to run an advanced search as I'm packaging. And what you can do is on the advanced search, click twice on the box for assign to package, so that you're only looking for items that have not yet been assigned to a package. Then as you start assigning them to packages, that list is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter until you have no items left, which we all love to see, a blank page with nothing left to do. Okay. So come time sorry, I'm reading portraits. Come time to package. The first thing you can do is grab all of your single item packages. So anything that's going to be by itself. It's a standalone package. It's not going to be paired up with anything else. So let's see. We'll grab necklace and earrings. We're going to do the socks, eyeglasses, and yoga. Okay, so I checked off the box to the left of all of the things that I'm going to put into their own package, and I'm just going to click on the Create Single Item Packages. When you click on Create Single Item Packages, it's going to verify that you really want to create 4 packages. And you have this option to include the item's name in the package description and restriction fields. Do not check this box. It will make your description and restrictions really messy for your single item packages. You are going to check it later when you create multiple item packages, but not for single. So I'm going to say OK. And if we scroll down through, you can see that I skip numbers here and there. That's where those kind of shortened my list or came off of my list. Okay. Once you have all of your single item packages done, then you can start packaging things together. So if we want to grab a bunch of stuff and put it all together, let's see, I'm going to do car washes and sunglasses, and I'm going to put that in a package together. And then I'm going to click Assign Items to Package. That puts both of those items into one package. It's going to tell me what item numbers I have highlighted. I'm going to assign to a new package. And then you can name your package. So you can put in that fancy name that makes it more fun. You can either tell it to auto assign a package number, or you can tell it what package number you want it to be. If you tell it that you tell it to put the package into the silent auction, your auto numbering will start at 1000 and will go through 1999. If you tell it to put it in the live auction section, your auto numbering will start at 1 and go through 25. Please don't ever make a live auction with 25 packages. And then your class, this is where you can say, it's It's auto related, it's health and beauty, it's home and garden, whatever. I'm going to say auto, and my value type is fair market value. On this one, I am going to check that box to include the item name in the package description and restrictions. And I'm going to assign. So when my screen refreshes, my Ray-Bans went away. So you'll just keep doing that until your list is empty. Any questions about creating packages? Okay. If you have an item that maybe comes in late and you want to add it to a package that already exists, you can grab it, click on Assign to Packages, and you can look up the package that already exists. So if I wanted to add that to my drive time package, I can type in drive, click on Find Package. There it is. So I'm going to add it to that package. Include item name and restrictions, and assign. So it just took that one item and added it into an already existing package. So I'm going to go back out to my project home. I'm going to go over to View Edit Packages. And I'm going to do the drop down on package type to look for my auction packages. So here are the packages I just created. So if there's anything in here that you want to change the name of, you want to rewrite the description, anything like that, you can click on Edit and just rewrite. So necklace and earring set, you may want to be a little more descriptive about, this is a sterling silver and rose quartz beaded necklace and earring set for pierced ears, something like that. That's a little more descriptive. Restrictions, there really wouldn't be any on here. And then you can put in your image. If you have an image already, then you can either click on Upload. If it's something that you have had in the past and you've used the images in the past, it will actually be out there in your library. So if you click on Use Existing Image, it will pull up your library, and this always takes a minute. So give it a second. It'll pull up your library, and then you can just grab whatever image is that you want to use again.
I just have a quick question about the images.
Yep.
If we are not doing mobile bidding, is there any reason why we would need an image in there?
If you want to do a catalog page on your website, yes.
Okay.
The catalog page on the website is basically a preview site that doesn't allow any bidding. People can see what, just like a snapshot of a few of the packages that you want to highlight and get some pre-event interest going in them. Then you would want to use that image.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to grab this one and stick it in there. So I just hit Insert. If I change my mind, I can hit Remove. If you are using the catalog pages, you can have one picture. If you are using online bidding, you can have up to 5 pictures. And they can actually do a slideshow on the online bidding. So if I wanted to put a second, if I was using online bidding on this and I wanted to bring in a second picture, I can click Upload. Sorry, that went to my websites. And go to last year and pull something out of there. Nope. Okay, and I can just double click on the picture. I can also, if I have the folder open, I can also grab a picture, drag and drop. So you have all kinds of options for adding those photos. Whatever you want to be the main photo that shows with that package should be first. And if you want to change them around, you can just grab them and drag them. So you can change your order just by dragging. Okay. And then, so make sure everything's all filled out. We would change this to jewelry. We're going to keep it in the silent auction. If you're running a catalog page, make sure that you're showing catalogs boxes checked. You've got your value auto-populates. And then if you have set up your bid sheets prior to, which should be done for all of you, it was part of your very first training on setting up the event for the year. It does not look like this one's done because it's pulling up odd values. So if you need to tweak these values, you can just click on that paperclip to break it, and now we can change this to start the bidding closer to where it should be. This looks like it's starting it at 25%, which we should be starting at the minimum 30%. For silent, I actually recommend 50%. So this is definitely not 35 or 50%. And then you would want to change that minimum raise. If you want your bid increments to be nice and even, you can change it to, $5, $10, $15, etc. And then guarantee purchase. That would be if somebody wanted to do the buy it now part. If you're using guarantee purchase on your event. So once all of that's done, you can click save and go on to the next one. I'm going to go into drive time. You can see that it's set up for auto, silent auction, showing catalogs. There's my fair market value of all 3 items that were included in the package. Again, I would want to tweak these values. And then you'll see in the description, that's the item name. This is the description that goes along with it. This says that it's Ray-Ban. So we can delete the item name. For the Gateway Motors, I would say 2 $100 gift cards for car washes at the location. And make sure that these sentences kind of flow together so that it's a nice description. And the same thing for the restrictions. And then we can throw in a couple pictures and save it. Okay. Just because I have a picture that goes along with that, and I'm going to drag it in there. If later on you decide that the skincare really doesn't go with the sunglasses and the car washes, you can come back in here, scroll to the bottom of your page, and you'll see the 3 items that we have included in this. If I decide that I don't, I can check it off and remove it. Keep in mind, if you do that, it will adjust your value. So our value dropped. However, it does not take it out of the description and restrictions. So make sure if you take something out of a package that you are deleting that information from the description and restrictions as well. So we'll delete that and we'll delete that and save it. Okay, so now these are all ready to go. Once you have done all your editing, got your package numbers where you want them, got everything into the section, whether silent or live, you've done your classes, you've checked over your minimum bid, minimum raise prices, etc. Packages are completely finalized. You can start doing your printing. So same query where we're looking at the package type of auction. We're going to go to reports and exports. And there are 3 definite reports that you want to run and a fourth that's optional. So I'm going to start with the optional one, and that's the printed catalog. Most of our events don't do an auction book anymore, but if you do want to do one, it's PKG02. You could also run this just so that you have a printed copy of all of your packages. If you want to see all of your packages in one place, do all of your, pass that around to a few people in the office, have everybody look over it, proofread it, make any changes, and then you can come back in and edit your packages from those notes. You can do that as well from that printed catalog. Okay. Next one, the three that you definitely need to do are the PKG06, the PKG09, and the PKG10. So the PKG06 is your bid sheets. Even if you're using online bidding, you still want to print bid sheets just in case. You always have that paper backup. So we're going to start with the PKG06. I'm going to run it on the grid selection because I already did the query for just my auction items, or just my auction packages. And of course, it's going to take a minute. Okay, so usually it doesn't take this long. There we go. So you have the option to run it as a PDF or to send it out to Excel. Okay. I'm going to do it on PDF just because it's easier for viewing on my computer. You have tons of settings in here, and you want to go through all of these. The nice thing is once you do the settings once, they're going to stay there. So if you put all your settings in and you preview it and you really like the way it looks, but then they add 4 more packages, you can go out, get those packages all set, come back, run your report, and all of those settings will still be there. So it'll still be the layout that you liked the first time. Whether you're using the bid box 1 column or bid box 2 columns, always make sure you're using the option with names. So 1 column would be just 1 column down the center of the page of bid increments. 2 columns is your bid increments split into 2 columns side by side on the page. We don't need to show the section name, so what that'll do is it'll put silent auction or live auction up in the corner of your bid sheet. Our advanced settings will decide what we want to show on those bid sheets. For bid sheets, less is more. You're going to have, your descriptions in your placards or frames or however you do that, or if you're online bidding, the descriptions are right there in their phones when they're looking at the packages. So my recommendation is not to show the descriptions or restrictions on the bid sheets. It just takes up room. Make sure you always say yes to showing the bid increments. If you don't say yes, your increments will come out completely blank and you'll have to manually fill them all in, and no one wants to be doing that. Guarantee price, totally up to you, whether you're showing it or not. If you're not using a guarantee purchase price or a buy it now price, you can say no. If you want to bring attention to it and stick it in that extra box, we can do that. If you want to show the retail value of the package, you can. Again, I wouldn't show the donors on here. I would acknowledge them on the description sheets, and never show the items in the package. What that'll do is it'll show your description, and then it will list all of the items that are also in that package. So it's 1, redundant, and 2, super messy. So we're going to say no. Images, if you want an AHA logo at the top of all of your bid sheets, you can do that. So we can say I either want a header image which is where I can then upload my logo. Or you can show the package image, so those images that we dragged and dropped into the packages. I don't recommend putting the package images on the bid sheets because they're so small, they're really hard to see. I would just do you know, a logo. So if I go out to my image manager, you know, your logo should be there from year to year. Oops, that's not the one I want. Let's find, where's our CVS? And if it's not, we'll have to upload it. So we can upload the one that we want. So I want the Macy's CVS logo. And if you find you have a whole bunch of stuff in your library that you're not using or you don't need, like these old logos that we're not using anymore, you can click on them, hit that red X, and it will delete them so that it's easier to find the logo you want. So I'm just going to grab that logo, say insert. This is now my header image. I give my header image a size, tell it where I want that image, so left, center, or right. I'm going to put it over in the right corner. You know, give it your margins, tell it what you want your font sizes to be on everything. You can play around with those. And then your bid box settings. So the bidder number column heading, this will be bidder number. Your bidder name column heading, because we try to keep these fairly anonymous, we don't recommend having people put their names down because that can, if somebody knows somebody else is bidding on it, that may deter them from bidding. If like, oh, my boss is bidding on that, I can't bid against her. So you want to keep that anonymous. So the bidder name, we generally put in as phone number, just in case somebody leaves the auction before the auction closes. We have a way to get a hold of them. So phone number, they can fill in their bidder number and their phone number, and then if they leave or don't pick up their item, we can call them and say, hey, you won blah, blah, blah. Width of the bidder number box, I'm going to give it an inch. And then you can play with your height. I think the default 0.35 works just fine. And we'll go next. So here's what my bid sheets are going to look like. My package number, my logo, package name, retail value, bidder number, phone number, my bid increment. And then down below there is my guaranteed purchase price. So my buy it now price. If I like the way these look, I can either download them or I can print them right from here. Again, if you're using online bidding, just always bring a printed copy with you just in case. Once you're done with your bid sheets, we can go run another report. And we'll move on to the PKG 09 table placards, which are your description sheets. Again, you have the option of PDF or Excel. You have lots of options for your layout. So whether you want a portrait, landscape, what you want your margins to be. I'm just going to put 1 inch all the way around. If you want your images, on this one you have an option for 2 images. You can do a header image, which would be your logo or AHA logo, and then you can show your package images, which will be those images that we actually dragged and dropped. And this one you can show your package image on there, and I would make it a little bit bigger. So if we make it 2 inches high, and then we're going to make our header image 1 inch high. I have to go find that Macy's CVS logo again. There it is. Okay, so I have image manager, my logo, my Go Red logo, image height 1. I'm going to show my package images and give those images a 2 inch height. Advanced settings is where you're going to decide what you're showing for information. Whether you want to show your value, you don't have to. If you want to show your minimum bid, your increments, your guaranteed purchase price, all of that stuff on the bid sheet, or not the bid sheet, the description sheet, you can do that. Actually, I'm going to leave that on there just so you can see what it looks like. The donors, we can say yes, alphabetical. I'm sorry if anybody's hearing that. My cats are fighting. Donor heading, we can say generously donated by. So it will come out and say generously donated by, with my donors in alphabetical order below. Yes, we want to show our package description. I'm going to center it. Yes, we want to show our package restrictions. We're going to center it. We really never show our solicitors on the description sheets. And then you can choose your font sizes and styles. So I'm going to bold the name and number, my value and bidding parameters. I'll do bold on those. And then I'm going to put my donors in italics. So you can play around with those again. Same as the bid sheets, the description sheets will hold your settings. So you can keep previewing, going back, tweaking things, and looking again. So here is our header image, our logo, package number, package name. There's our package image, description, our minimum bid, our raise, our guaranteed purchase, who donated it. Let's see if there's one that's a little longer. Okay, here's one that's a little bit longer. So our drive time package, there's our image, there's our description, our minimum bid, raise, and guaranteed purchase, and then our donated by, it actually bumps to the next page. So I may either want to tweak my font sizes to make these smaller, or if I hit previous, I can come back and say, go to my advanced settings and say, I don't want to show my bidding parameters. And then when I go next, and scroll down to that package, now it's all on one page and it's a little bit neater. So these are up to you how you want to lay them out. Definitely play around and see what you like best. Questions so far? All right, we're going to run another report and move on to our package labels, the PKG10. So this one's super easy to run. Basically, you tell it what size label you're doing. So 2x4 seems to be a real common size that we use. So I'm going to say 2x4. My font size is going to be 12. I'm going to give it a 1/4 inch top margin, and yes, I want to show my item names. So this way I know what items are included in each package. So if I have a whole bunch of gift certificates that are all entered as separate items going into one package together, what's going to happen is I'm going to get this nice little label that tells me exactly for package 1004, I should have this gift certificate and this gift certificate in an envelope with this label on it that I can hand to the winning bidder, rather than shuffling through trying to find all of the different gift certificates that go together, or trying to paperclip them together. Just put everything in an envelope, put the label on the front of it, and basically, and go. If you do have physical items that go with one of these, I would note that. So if these are both gift certificates, but if there was, say, the Gateway Motors was a gift certificate and these were an actual pair of sunglasses, I would highlight that item number 1 on the label so that you know that not only are you handing them this envelope, you should be handing them a piece of merchandise as well. so that they're not walking away with just gift certificates and leaving the rest of their package behind. We have had that happen at events where we then had to track people down and say, oh, we forgot to give you a piece of it. Any questions? Okay, so if I can get this out here. Out on SharePoint in the Greater Giving folder is our lovely manual. If you scroll down to section 11 and the auction, click on it, it literally walks you through everything I just did with pictures. So if you forget anything that I just went over, you have your instructions out there that will lead you through it. Okay. Get rid of that. And I'm going to go to Project Home, and just for those who find like this event that their bid sheets are not set up yet, you can go under Project Tasks and go to Set Up Bid Sheets. And again, in that manual are the instructions for actually doing your bid sheet settings. So make sure that you're walking through those and getting those all set, as well as under Project Tasks, the very last one for Edit Receipt Settings, make sure that your event receipts are all set so that when it comes time to print them or email them at the event, that we're sending them accurate information. So again, go to the manual. It will walk you through doing your general event and payment receipts if they're not already done. Make sure those things are, the bid sheets and the event receipts are done prior to your event bid sheets due before you actually start packaging items. And it will make your life so much easier when it comes to package. You'll have a lot less editing to do of the increments and minimum bids and guarantee purchase and all of that fun stuff. Does anybody have questions?
Hi, Melissa. I have a quick question. This is a little bit unrelated, but is there a report that I can pull that will tell me auction item donors and their contact info?
Yep, there is actually. So in your supporter reports, if you go to your advanced search, when we say donors for the role, that refers to only auction donors. So anybody who donates an auction item will automatically be marked as a donor. So I can check include only donors who have donated. And then when I search, there's my 40 auction donors. So I can go to reports and exports from there and do the SUP-01 supporter export.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any others? Alrighty, so just an FYI for auction trainings going forward and the sales tax training, as well as sponsorship opportunities training and reports trainings, which the opportunities and the reports have already gone by. We are transitioning into Mackenzie actually doing these trainings for me. So Mackenzie's been sitting on the call, and the next round of trainings, she's going to start taking over. So don't be surprised if you hear somebody else's voice on these trainings. Any questions from here on out? We're going to start transitioning the fda.sce.website email inbox from being just website requests to all Greater Giving questions. So if you have anything Greater Giving related, please send it to the fda.sce.website. Mackenzie and I both have access to that. So when I am crazy on the road this spring, like you all know I get, she will be checking the inbox so that I don't leave you guys hanging for too long without an answer to your questions. So any questions from here on out? If I'm online, you can always IM me. But otherwise, send them to that fda.se.website at heart.org. And if there's no more questions, then that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Thanks, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mackenzie, you all good with the recording?
I think so. I'm just trying to figure out how to stop it.
It said that the recording had stopped on my screen.
Oh, okay. Now where to go is another question.
That I don't know.